Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Aubrey, and this is Aubrey Trades. Today, I want to talk to you about 8 hot stocks to watch for tomorrow's market open. That is right, I'm talking about penny stocks, listed small caps, things that have the potential to surge 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% inside a few minutes. All right, now some of these are going to be OTC stocks. Like I said, that means there's going to be a little bit of a commission involved, and you're going to need to use a traditional broker, something like a TD Ameritrade or an E-Trade, and you're probably going to have a commission of like $5 to $7. All right, with that in mind, you want to make sure that your position size is big enough to where those commissions don't eat into your gains that much. For me personally, my OTC rule is positions no smaller than $500. That means within a 2% move, I use TD, I will have covered my commissions. All right, now the other ones that we're going to talk about are listed stocks. That means something as simple as pulling out your Robinhood app on your phone and making the trade very easily whenever you want. All right, now let's go ahead and get into the watch list, Now, first up, we're going to talk about WSRC. This is a penny stock big runner from Tuesday. On its day 4, this is going to be the day 5 move on Monday. All right, they issued a press release on Tuesday saying they've entered talks to acquire a majority stake in this mining group, with revenues projected at $1 billion, I think. Now let's go here and look at the press release, right? Talks majority stake in a gold mining, $3.2 billion in projected revenue. That is huge, enough to send this baby soaring, all right, on Tuesday from the lows of 2 cents all the way up to the highs of 25. That's about 1,000% gain, all right? And we even saw one of my favorite patterns on Tuesday. That is the afternoon VWAP bounce. VWAP is the volume weighted average price. This is an indicator that a lot of traders use in their decision making. This really just takes the average price weighted by volume traded at a given moment. Right now, here we saw this bounce right here. All right, this is the golden ticket. So low risk when you take this sort of trade here. Look at this, right to the tick, almost at 1442. All right, and from there, if you caught this and it would have taken you all the way back to those highs of 25 cents, that's about a 70-ish% gain, I think, right? Let's see, 25 cents divided by, let's say 14.5, right? If that was roughly the entry, that is a 72% move. That, I would take that trade any day of the week. Now, its day 2 move a little bit lackluster. You could see it just kind of faded. But then day 3, we had this follow-up spike, and then we had this little bit of a fade into the close. Right back here, see I have this little line drawn here, this as a little potential support bounce. Now, if we look on Friday, this had a bit of a morning panic, right? And where did it panic to? This zone. See this little consolidation zone from the 22s and the 20s? Had a little bit of that going on before following up the move to new highs at 37. Now, Friday, it did just kind of fade back to where it started from by the end of the day, all right? So tomorrow, I'm going to see specifically if this has legs to retest these highs here in the 37s, all right? But looking at the day chart, we have one of these indecision candles, right? So this could be potentially indicative of continued downside. All right, we got the lowest volume on Friday that we've had for this entire run up. So if it's gonna continue, it's gonna need another big volume push, but I'm not gonna count it out. All right, I'm specifically gonna watch for another dip, all right, to retest some of these lows to see if it can get continued upside. Now, I'm thinking specifically of GGII on its first legs, right? We had, up from sub penny land, day 1, day 2 hitting penny land, right? Day 3 having a bit of indecision here, all right? Day 4, another Bit of indecision here. But then what happens? It runs, it consolidates. And what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 days later, or 12 days into the initial run, I should say, explosive, right? So we're only right here in the move. Monday, we could see a little bit of this action, consolidation through the week, and it could continue to have legs. And that's not guaranteed. Anything can happen. This can go right back to where it came from, but that is specifically what I am looking for out of this stock, all right? Next down the list, we're going to take you to BICB. If we go back to the watch list, this is the biotech up on reinstatement. That means they're getting current, right? There's a big news that came out recently about, you know, all the OTCs, the pink sheets and stuff, all had to get current. Otherwise, they're going to get delisted from exchanges. So we're having a little bit of a surge in a lot of these companies getting current, making new SEC filings, and then we have runs based off of those. It's really nothing. There's not much happening with the stocks other than just running on the hype from some of these reinstatements, right? So nothing super big, but we saw this big spike here on Friday up to the 4 cents from sub penny land to 4 cents from sub penny land is ridiculous. Now, I don't like stocks that close beneath the VWAP. It makes me nervous. I specifically would never long a stock overnight that's closed, especially in OTC, that's closing below VWAP. It's not the best sign. The ideal scenario is this, bouncing off of VWAP in the afternoon to new highs, or just consolidating through VWAP for the entire day. But I will watch for a retest of those highs potentially, but we're gonna need to see some volume come in. Look at this big volume at almost 1.5 million shares here, and then this next candle was, just about 1 million shares traded. So we're gonna need to see some big action like that to come in for this to really keep moving. But I mean, huge first green day, huge volume spike on the daily. Lot of room to retest, but this also looks a bit like a blow off top. So, we'll just have to see, okay? Now, number 3 we're going to talk about is EGRD. Going back to the watch list, another one that's up on reinstatement, all right, up from the 3s to the 60s. It had a bit of a wide spread, but it could always retest these highs. So it's closing here in the 50s. It could retest the 60 range. Now it's not market open, so this is going to be subject to change. But look, we're seeing the spread right here of over 10 cents, 45 by 58, pretty wide. Going to the 5-minute chart, we opened on these lows, had this spike in the late morning, delayed, fell beneath VWAP, but reclaimed at the very end on some low volume here. Not anything terribly crazy going on. There's actually way more volume here on Wednesday, but we will see. Maybe the volume will come in Monday morning and we'll see this retest on this day. It would be day 4 move. All right. Going back down to the watch list, I believe we're going to start getting into the listed stocks now with SWBI. Now, this is Smith & Wesson. It is a gun play. Now, I don't really care what your feelings may or may not be towards gun control, but I know once it's in the air and people are talking about it, all right, the gun stocks, this home defense, the self-defense stocks tend to run. Now, this one broke a pretty key level, in the 27s. 25s, 27s, and swung into the 32s. I think there's some continued upside here. I mean, we broke out of this range. This is the 1 year chart we're looking at. We were range bound here from the 22s, the lows of the 14s, and now that we're here in the 30s, I'm watching for some continued upside. Let's zoom out into the 5-year, see what we're looking at. All right, so even on the 5-year, we're above these highs of the 24s. Let's zoom out. Let's zoom out even more. All right, let's go 20 years out and see what we're looking at. All right, 20 years out. So we're at 20 plus year highs. You know what, for giggles, right? Let's go max available. You know, I really want to see, like, where are we going? Where could we go? Well, anything could happen. All-time highs were here at 25. So, you know, this could keep running. We got this big volume bar, and this is the week. These are week candles, all right? Like week-long candles, not daily candles, all right? So keep that in mind. We got about 50 million shares traded. That is just crazy, all right? Even here on these big spikes, you know, we're looking at 38 million shares. We're looking at 39 million shares on these candles right here. You see this? This is those candles I'm talking about, where there's this big sell-off, and then we had this big spike from the 7s to the 10s here on this big candle. Continued run up over here. We've got the 50-day moving average crossing over the 200-day moving average. That is a bullish sign. We got a bullish trend on the MACD, and we're here in this new area on the market profile. So there is a chance to see some fading. You know, this is a big parabolic candle right here, so we could see some consolidation. We could see a fade back into the 25. So I would personally love, right? I would love to see this fade back down, and I would love to see this breakout level tested, all right? Because look at this. We have this. Look at this line. Right here in the 23s. Look, you got this line up here. You got this touch, this congestion zone. And that ended up being the resistance points here in December. A little bit underneath that back in August, all right? So I would love to see us retest this zone to go up. I would look to enter here in the 24s, 25s. That gives us some good upside to, at the very least, retest these highs, if not continue higher. That is what I'm specifically going to be looking for. Maybe this surges more. If it doesn't retest that day, I would look for it later in the week. Otherwise, if this is just going to go ahead and keep running, you know, I'm looking for weak open red to green moves. All right, I'm looking for dip and rips, or I'm looking for the VWAP hold high day breaks. Going into let's look at the intraday here. You can kind of just see what's been going on. It's steady uptrending. Our Friday action, all right, closing here at the highs on Thursday. Up a little bit in pre-market. Immediate spike. You could look to enter on the test of VWAP. Go to the minute chart. I love playing VWAP. I love playing VWAP. All right, and this was a little messy. Okay, this one's a little messy. I don't know that I would have stayed into this personally. I like to see the VWAP not break, but here we had this continued upside movement, and then a fade, and we're underneath VWAP. We've talked about, it's not the most bullish indicator for me. This is what makes me think that we might see some more of that fading action throughout the week. Ideally, back to the breakout level, ideally successfully bouncing off of the breakout level would be super, super bullish. Great idea for a swing trade. Next up, we got SPCE, or Virgin Galactic Space, right? This one's been a big hot one this week. This one's been running. You know, we're hovering right around this all-time highs here in the 60s. This was some news that came out. FAA cleared them. Let's see, review test flight. Rocketed for a record gain Friday. They got the license for a space line to fly. So they got the approval to fly customers out into space, is what this is. So that's that's big. That's very legitimizing to their business and their product offering. Now, I don't care so much about that, all right? I care about the price action. I care about what's happening. Here we have hovering near all-time highs on insane volume. Look at this. At the height here, we had 80 million shares traded at the biggest volume days of this last run up, which by the way wasn't even the top, right? We kind of got to these highs on fading volume here, which is not very bullish. And whenever you get new highs on fading volume, that is a very, that's something to be very cautious of and could be indicative of fading to the downside, all right? So, but now that we're here at highs, I know everyone that shorted this stock from the 60s that has made bank this entire time, they're coming back and they're thinking, man, here we are, juicy, juicy, juicy. We're going to be short, 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 short. Everyone coming back to reshort this stock near the highs. If Monday it can hang around and keep these highs up, I think we got potential for some serious continued upside. All right. Now, if we zoom out, let's look at that. Let's look at that year, that 5-year chart. This is the all-time high of the all-time highs. So past the 62 mark, it's really anyone's game. This could see the 70s. This could see the 80s. It just depends on how insane this is going to go. This could be AMC part 3, right? Speaking of AMC, let's just take a quick look to see what that's looking like. Not bad. AMC is another one that I'm kind of keeping on the back burner for right now. I think it's amazing that we're hanging here toward the highs on such low volume now. I think if this could keep that up, and maybe like put in some more reps in this range, just really basing, if you will. And if we start to uptrend back into the 60s range, I think, the squeeze is on, friends. The squeeze is on. But that's just a quick little check-in on a good old friend AMC there. But moving down the line from space, we got ALF, Emeren, and IKNX. ALF and Emeren, two big momentum players from last week. All right, let's start with ALF, okay? Now, ALF is funny, man. Low float, junker, scammy stock, big ol' bunch of nothing. There was news like earlier in the week, and I'm trying to scroll down here and find what the original piece was. There was a stock buyback. There was I felt like there was something in there. Is it just the buyback? It can't be. It's got to be more than the buyback though. Looks like maybe they added a new executive. Share repurchase. Who knows? But this has just been it's a low float, and it's just been, these low floaters can just keep getting squeezed. Like every time you see one of these guys just like retesting those highs, like we had this, right? We chilled here in the 6s for a bit. What happened when we retested these highs from this wicking area? Boom. Got some fading, boom. Now, we faded a lot on Friday. So, again, not ideal. We'll see how this holds up in the pre-market. But if this thing can go back and test this 18 to 20 range, I think, game on. We'll see what happens, all right? But there's not a whole lot of volume here in the 15s. So if this can't hold the 16s, we're probably back here in the 14s, all right? Otherwise, if it can break out of the 17s, we might end up in the 18s pretty quickly. And if we end up in the 18s again, people that are getting short here are going to be underwater. And if shorts are underwater, they can get squeezed. Next up, we're going to talk about Emeren. All right, Emeren. Nothing crazy going on with Emeren. After hours mover on Wednesday. Company announced it added the ability to manage Instacart ads to its flagship Marin One platform. That, like, honestly, to me, doesn't even sound like it's that big of a deal. Again, I don't care what the news is specifically. I just care that there is news. Now, let's go ahead and for a second. I did not trade Emrin well on Thursday. I got caught in this VWAP break. I got caught somewhere on this bounce. I was looking for the reclaim, which was really dumb. I made a stupid trading decision. And I moved on, and I totally missed this really super delayed squeeze, all right? So I'm looking for Friday, right? Now Friday, pop, delayed squeeze, fade, 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 go, 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 go. Hangs out in the threes, squeezes again into the fours. Now, if we hang in the fours on the pre's, right? Or if we fade back into the 360s here, I would love to see this. This would be super bullish to bounce off of this little congestion area. To see a retest of these fours, potential further upside. That's what I'm looking for on Emrin. IKNX is our last one. Gapped up on Friday, held VWAP, broke out to new highs. Definitely looking for the week open red to green, VWAP hold, and high of day breaks for this. IKNX. Let's see if there's anything of note. But falling below VWAP, not the best thing, but we will see how this reacts in the pre's. I would love to see a reclaim of these 20s on watch. Let's go to the 1 year chart. Huge gap up, a little bit of indecision here. So we are watching for it, but big, big, big volume. And wherever there's big volume, there is volatility and there is the potential for serious momentum. We already have a range from the 25s to the low 15s, and just within that range, right? Just within that range is a 66% range. All right, so this, you know, if this has a weak open, if I'm looking to play this, I'm looking for the weak open, looking for the fade, and I'm looking for the red to green. That worked on Friday here. Look at the open here. Bam, fade. You know, you had this brief red to green move, which could have faked you out a little bit. But once it went here, once it passed red to green here on this bounce, upside. I'm looking for the same thing. I'm looking for the same thing tomorrow on this. All right. Ideally, this opens a little weak. You know, maybe it tests here, the 16 range, continued upside. All right, that's what I'm looking for. We do have some serious volume here in the 17s. I'm wondering how much of that is coming from these afters. Probably mostly from this beginning of the day. You see all of this volume congestion here. I'd love to see this hold up, but if we get a little bit of slippage here, I would look to take that. I would look for the red to green move, and I would look for the continued upside. Now that is it. That is all I got for you guys today. Those are my 8 main watches for Monday. You know, fingers crossed. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna trade as best as we can and really try and grow this account. You know, I'm personally challenging myself to grow it was a $2,000 account, and we're down a little bit to $1,765, and I've just been kind of teetering between 17 and 21 for about like 2 months. So working on the consistency, but I think these are some serious solid plays that we can look for tomorrow. And you know, my trading has nothing to do with it. All of these stocks were seriously in play last week, and a bunch of people nailed them, and I, you know, took tiny pieces of them, you know, not nearly as much as I should have, but you know, that's what I'm thinking, and that's what I'm watching into the week. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next video.